Chapter 31, Servicing Air Brake Systems, Day 1, Video 1, Safety. So some of the things that we need to be aware of, the hazards and the safety concerns when doing brake work, especially wheel end work. Obviously safety glasses. We are working around where we can have dust be able to get up. Sometimes we've got chemicals that we're working with that can splash and spray back into our eyes. Compressed springs for shoe return springs and that sort of stuff. So any of that can come back and catch us in the face. So it'd be appropriate to wear safety glasses. Some cases maybe even a face shield. Keeping our hands away from any of the moving parts, right? So we've got some brake chambers that have got springs in them, the return springs on the shoes, all those sorts of things. So we make sure that we're working around those safely. Connecting or disconnecting an air hose in the system. So we're using compressed air is the energy source for our air brakes. So we've got pipes and hoses and stuff running around all over the wheel ends. Make sure that if we make a disconnect of the hose to do work on it, that we've drained the air from the system, relieved all that pressure. Make sure that that air system, all the pressure is gone from the system. Preparing the vehicle, obviously working on it in a safe, level parking space there in the shop. Chalking the wheels with purpose-made wheel chalk so it does not move back and forth, because if we're going to be working on the brakes, we will disable the park brake. So we need to make sure we chalk the wheels. If we're doing work where we're disassembling the brakes, removing the tires, and then disassembling the brakes, we're going to have to make sure that we support that the axles on safety stands, and just making sure that they are adequately placed and that they are proper weight capacity. Engine off and key removed. The thing about the air system on the truck is when the engine starts, the compressor is working. It's driven right off the engine. We cannot turn the air compressor off. So we want to make sure that that's the energy source for the air brakes. If we're working on the air brake system and we've got air brake components removed, make sure that we've got the key out and lockout, tag out situation there. So if somebody jumps in there, they know why not to start it. Drain all the air tanks. So all the tanks on the truck have got a drain valve of some sort. Make sure that we relieve all the pressure out of there, and that's going to relieve all the energy source. One of the concerns that we've got about working around brakes is the brake dust, right? So as the brakes wear away, the linings turn into dust, and all that's kind of trapped in the brake wheel ends there. The brake linings used to be made of asbestos, so you would have asbestos dust, which is carcinogenic, so it will cause cancer. You breathe that in, and it comes into your lungs, and it does not come. It does not. You can't get rid of it once it's in your lungs. So they moved away from asbestos linings and moved to some different composites and ceramics that we use for the brake lining. So although those are not cancer-causing, they will still create the dust, glass fibers, mineral wool, aramid fibers, ceramic fibers, brass, and carbon fibers. Not to mention, there's going to be some of the bonding agents and the glues and stuff like that that hold all that together. So all of that is trapped in the brake wheel ends. We need to make sure that we are preparing ourselves properly to be able to deal with that. We don't want to use compressed air or dry brushing to clean those brake ends. If we use compressed air and you're blowing out all the brake dust, what you're doing is putting that out into the air. You're going to breathe it in. Everyone else in the shop is going to breathe that in. So never use compressed air to blow all the brake dust out of a brake drum. Dry brushing the same way. If they've got plenty of brake clean water, soapy water, that sort of thing, to where we will suspend the dust in that brake clean or in the soapy water. It drains down into a catch pan, and then we've contained the hazardous dust in the liquid, and it drains off of the wheel end. So that's a safe way to work around it. Wearing a disposable mask, that's the white mask that goes over your nose and over your mouth. Has a little rubber band that holds it to your face. The N95, those block out 95% of any of the particulate matter that's floating around. So, and that's plenty enough to get rid of all those fibers and stuff that are floating around. Also, they have some wheel end systems that is like a little tint that goes around the end of the brakes, and has a pump in there, and it will pump either a solvent or soapy water or something like that, and you wash off the brake ends with that. And the idea there is it contains any dust that is disturbed. You wash it down with the brush and the pump that is contained in the system there, and then you reach your hands into it. It's got some little gloves in there, so you're not exposed to it. Trying to, again, remove any of that dust hazard.